Howdy, friends and neighbors. Peter Arena here with Hands On Living. It's the next episode of Hands On Living. I'm actually parked at a car dealership as I await a friend of mine who I'm meeting, and thought I'd take the time. Part of what I'm trying to do here is keep the production of these episodes as simple as possible and make them as expedient as possible, and do so in such a way that you're still able to actually get some decent content. And ultimately, I'd like to try to incorporate at least some, again, really edit free live potentially. I think I have to have a certain number of subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification button and be notified of when new episodes are coming along, or when we're going to do a live episode. When I think I have to hit 50 subscribers, and right now we're in the low 20s. So that's not in the offing. However, when I'm doing these, I'd like to be able to have perhaps a Zoom call interview, split screen, and be able to sit and talk with somebody. Either that, or reposition the camera and be sitting in the truck talking to somebody, or whatever. Set up the tripod and be at the kitchen table and do it in person, which of course is my preference. I like, as I call it, meet space, and like to do things in person, but it's not always viable and opportune. So as I've been doing this, I've been encountering these technological issues, and yesterday was a perfect example. I did a 30-minute episode, had kind of off the cuff conversation talking about the topic that I'm going to approach today. I'm going to probably keep it a little bit shorter. That was a full half hour. Unfortunately, the microphone, which is now positioned above me here and appears to be giving some decent sound, decided to conk out at about 20 minutes. And so I lost it. And I'm redoing today's. So I'm going to try and keep these as simple as possible. And here we go. So today's episode, and what I'd like to talk about, is themed on what I had in way of a recent encounter. I've recently begun taking college courses with an eye towards obtaining a degree in beverage management and distillation. It's been a long time goal of mine, a dream of mine, to become a distiller, possibly to have my own distillery, at least run a distillery. And I find that to be real good hands-on stuff. It's the kind of apocalypse-proof type of occupation that allows someone to be engaged with their hands and with their minds, producing stuff that's not necessarily just alcohol for people to drink, but alcohol is the underpinning of a lot of what we do, and distillation is ubiquitous throughout our society and our lives. And although we don't sometimes see it, and one of the bigger ones is distillation of water, so water purification. But things like uh, the essential oils that are popular with people nowadays. Basically, the process of distillation is to removing the excess water from something and leaving this concentrated uh, um, substance behind. In some cases, it's alcohol, and in some cases, it's oils. And again, in the case of water, you're effectively distilling the water away from the contaminants that make it less than pure. So this, I thought, is an avenue I've been wanting to pursue for about over 15 years now. And I'm finally coming around to just biting the bullet. Back to what brings me to that subject. I was walking to class dark and early one morning recently, and I heard in the background, and the entire Reveille, uh, whatever it's called, melody was played out in its entirety as I'm walking to class. And I was thinking about Reveille. Of course, it was for an ROTC class, and they're going to go do their jumping jacks and push-ups and whatever the hell else they do, and marching in line. And I got to thinking about Reveille. What is Reveille? Reveille is literally the translation from the French is wake up, and then in that word Reveille, you begin to see the word reveal, or perhaps revelation. And of course, you go back to the Greek of revelation, the term is apocalypse. And so I believe that there is a massive, and I mean massive, wake up happening across our wonderful home world, and it is accelerating, and people are waking up. People are seeing things for what they are, and what are they? So that was what I was delving into in greater detail in yesterday's foiled episode. But we have what we see now is people are coming to recognize that a lot of the things that we had been told that was true are not true. They are, in fact, deliberate lies, and they are lies that are part of a much larger construct of lies, a mass deception, a grand deception. And I don't want to delve into it in too much depth right now. I want to kind of make this a synopsis, but it is a complicated subject matter. The deception, I believe, has its roots in Satanism, and there is a demonic evil that governs and guides these sorts of deceptions that we have been enduring and have been duped by and blinded by. And now, as the scales fall from the eyes of many people, they are seeing them for what they are, and the lies are being revealed more and more. And in so doing, it has freaked out and made very nervous and very, what's the word I'm looking for? It has made those who are in control hasten their plans. So the construct, as Morpheus would call it in the Matrix, the construct of the deception has goes from something that is literally microscopic all the way to something that is as vast as the world we live on, and the what we consider to be the galaxies around us. As I'll explain briefly, it is my position, and increasingly many others, that the galaxies and the world around us is not at all what we've been told. Okay, so back on the microscopic level, we were one of the reasons that people began to hasten their wake up is the fact that people began to see that they saw through the deception of the COVID scam. I don't even know if the AI is going to just pick up on these words or not. I try to do this in an uncensored way, but I have to also be careful because I don't want my videos to all of a sudden just get gobbled up and taken away from the platform, which is YouTube primarily at this point. But that entire scam was perpetrated and unfolded and has been increasingly revealed to more and more people. Millions, hundreds of millions, perhaps billions of people now see it for at least partially for what it is. And the reality is that many other people have now begun to recognize that the actual foundations on which the premise of the deception was promulgated with people is itself a lie, and that is that viruses exist, that this little microscopic invisible thing is the culprit behind all of these problems. And so it becomes this thing that, trust me, bro, this is what's going on. And so your mind begins to reel because the implications of it and the scope of it is so vast that people's minds just immediately shut off. But once you begin to look closer and closer at what is actually behind these deceptive constructs, you begin to realize that they're fallacious, that they're specious. There is no substance there. There is no scientific proof of the existence of the virus. And so once you have knocked out the underpinnings of that lie, the actual lie that viruses even exist, now you have it's like a Jenga tower. You've knocked out the very bottom struts of that thing, almost like taking down a steel frame structure. You got to get at the under structure of it, if you know what I mean. So this is what brings down that structure. And so let's set that aside. Just take that as a given. Then we are confronted with this at the very opposite scale, from the microscopic to the most vast, and that is believing, accepting that we are traveling through some ever expanding galactic maelstrom of stars and planets and comets, and that we are this little teeny ball hurtling through space, and we are going around this sun at 90 at whatever the speed is. I know that interestingly, the speed at which we are told the Earth revolves around the sun is at 66,600 miles per hour. Just take that for what it is. But there are many of these sorts of interesting numbers that are presented to us with this deception. But again, we are fed this lie from the time that we are infants, literally. We have mobiles put above our cribs that have the stars and the planets and the sun kind of doing their thing, and we are told relentlessly that we are trapped on this planet and there's nowhere else to go. We're just here, and space is out there, and we're just these insignificant little beings that are on this know nothing planet in the middle of nowhere. And it's a lie. It's a lie, because the moment you begin to look more closely at it. And this has taken me a long time to come around to it. It's taken me a long time, literally years, to finally accept the fact that we have been lied to on the most minute scale and the most grand scale. And we are not on a spinning ball that is revolving around the sun. Quite the opposite. We are a fixed, stationary plane that was created by the Creator, by God, and the stars and the planets and the sun and the moon all circle around us in a regular clock-like pattern, and we may in fact be just one series of continental islands surrounded by this ring of ice, but that beyond that ring of ice might be more lands. We don't know. I don't want to get into the depth of it, but the idea here is that people are questioning the things that they did not question before, and that's the key. And that begs the question: who and why are we being given these lies? And at its root, maybe different cultures and maybe different times, different religions have different ways of putting it. I'm a I'm a Catholic. I'm a Christian Catholic. I believe that we are in an eternal, relentless struggle between good and evil, and that evil is personified by Satan, and those who work in league with Satan are demons, and those demons can be of a spiritual plane, and they can very, very, very much be of the physical plane. And we are surrounded, I believe, by many individuals who are enthralled with and give their obedience to and pay homage to Satan and are demonically controlled. And I was listening to some Sean Hibbler. If you've never encountered Sean Hibbler, is an amazing, amazing documentarian, young man who is incredibly talented. And he was having a conversation about flat Earth and who we are, where we are, who's lying, why are they lying. Maybe I can put the link to that particular episode interview in the show notes below. But the point being here is that he made a point of saying that Satan's time is now coming to a close. So we are at the edge of an age, and we are moving into this new age. People used to call it the age of Aquarius, and it may in fact be that. I don't know what to call that, but the fact is that um, we are witnessing, we are part of, and we are living through a time of great revelation, a time to wake up, a time for the scales to fall from your eyes and see that we have been deceived. And for us as creations of God to use the faculties that we've been given to intuit and observe and understand for ourselves with compassion and love the world that we live in and the gifts that we've been given as living beings. And that's kind of the thrust of what I wanted to talk about today. I'd like to turn these into interviews with some of these people who, in all likelihood, can better synopsize what I'm trying to get across in way of this subject of both the virus and flat Earth, and then the one thing that I think of when I think of this. I think of it as a trilogy. I think of viruses because it's at one end of the scale, and flat Earth as the other end of the scale. But the thing that ties them together is this demonic leadership, this demonic control structure. And that's a big one, man. That's a big one. Because what we are looking at, what we're looking at here is uh, effectively digging in and pulling back the curtain to see who's actually pulling the levers and doing the deception. And I think I'm going to hold off on talking about that until a later date, and perhaps have someone on who I think can help us walk through that. So, in the meantime, pray and love one another, and be at peace. I love you all. Take care. Peace. Bye bye.